All right, ladies and gentlemen, hi, how are you? And good evening to all. Welcome to night 4 of Diddy or Didn't He here on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. I am Pugs Moran from the Daily Rant, lifestyle and hot topic conversation without all the politics. It's talk radio for normal people. Watch along. Join in the hot topic conversation that we have there going on in the coolest chat room in the game. Find us at either Pugs and Company or Radio Misfits on YouTube and Facebook. It's The Rant with me, Pugs Moran, hot topic conversation since 2021, where radiomisfits.com. All right, folks, as I said, it is day 4 of the Sean Diddy Combs trial going on in a federal courthouse in New York City. I am covering every single day, offering you breakdowns. Some days we will have a full panel. We'll be joined on occasion from, yesterday we had James Parker from WBAP Radio here in Dallas, Fort Worth. Headcrack from Dish. Why do I always say Dish Network? Dish Nation. We all know the show Dish Nation. Headcrack, old friend, he's been joining us as well. Certain days we'll have full panel discussion shows where we get more in detail and break down, everything. Or there will be days like this where it's just going to be me and there is a lot to get to. So I just want to drill down on the facts. I'll offer you some commentary as we go, but this is more about keeping us in step with all of the developments that are happening in the Sean Diddy Combs trial. Today was a big one, just like yesterday. Yesterday was Cassie Ventura, the longtime girlfriend and cornerstone of the prosecution's case against Sean Combs. She took the stand. She's 8 months pregnant. Oh my God. What's that going? How is the defense going to navigate that? Well, we're starting to see, because cross-examination, the defense's turn, began today, Thursday, day 4. So we're going to get into all of that and everything else that happened today in court. But first, a couple of notes, couple of things that did go on that do bear mentioning here. First and foremost, I've been saying that I'm a big fan of this judge so far. Now, I'm not watching a lot of other coverage. I'm not seeing what a lot of other people are saying. So I don't know what the water temperature is as far as, how we, the great unwashed, feel about Judge Aram Subramian. But I'm telling you, this guy is keeping this thing, he's keeping it on a pretty tight schedule. He's not allowing the defense to drag this thing out and turn it into something crazy, which is always the problem when you have these high-priced dream team legal. I don't know what to call them. But what they're going to do is they're going to try and make this as painful as everybody and drag it out. This Judge Aram Subramian, he's not falling for any of that nonsense. He's cracking the whip. And we saw a version of that today when the defense, here, let me see. Where do we have? Where are my notes on this? Here we go. Okay. A peeved Judge Aram Subramian warns defense attorneys that they would only get a day and a half total to question Cassie Ventura. Cassie, as I said, is 8 months pregnant. She was on the stand for a full day with the prosecution. So you would think that she should at least get a full day on the stand with the defense. Well, she got that. She got the full day on the stand today, day 4. And the defense team kind of suggested that they would still be cross-examining Cassie Ventura as late as Monday. Judge Aram Subramian said no. He's like, no way. What are you people nuts? She's a pregnant woman. All right, the prosecution had her up for a day. You can have her up for a day and a half. Here's how it went down in court. It says here, peeved judge warns defense that they would only get a day and a half total to question Ventura. Quoting the judge now, he says, this is not the kind of witness who is fighting you. Okay, judge is telling the defense, look, she's not fighting you. She's not hostile. You don't need more time to work with her. You're going to get a day and a half with her. She's 8 months pregnant. Let her alone. Leave her go. It seems fair to me. It doesn't seem, because they really want to put her under the microscope and they might want to draw this out because they have a degree of difficulty in this cross-examination that I've been mentioning for the last couple of days, which is that she's 8 months pregnant. It's a pregnant woman up there. That elicits sort of instinctive compassion from people. You don't want to handle her improperly on the stand, especially now the judge is telling you only got a day and a half, right? They would like to be able to spread this out over 5, 6, 7, 8 days. They want to make sure that whatever jives they get in, that it's not going to occur in a vacuum. You know what I mean? They want full context for if they're mean to Cassie, if they have to turn the screws on this pregnant woman. The defense is probably thinking that they would like a body of work that shows that they were at the very least even-handed. Judge said no to that today. The judge told him, no, you got a day and a half to make your point with her, man, okay? We're sorry that she's pregnant. We're sorry that's going to be difficult for you to try and turn her into something awful to the jury because she's pregnant, and that's going to be, that could blow back on you, but it doesn't matter. He said this is not the kind of witness who is fighting you. Also, it should be noted today in the out front, there was a disturbance. There was an arrest, a pro-Diddy. Well, let's just be honest. He was a nutbag. A pro-Diddy nutbag was out there swinging some kind of a weapon. He's gone viral. He's all over there. If you're, if you're watching on a video or whatever, you can probably find it. I'm not going to waste my time. He was just a crazy guy. Just a crazy guy out there swinging some kind of medieval ball attached to a chain, threatening that he's going to murder the first white man that walks out. Yeah, it was one of those kinds of deals. So they arrested him. Slight disturbance. Didn't really make its way inside. No problem for the court proceedings. But, there you go. A little bit of the circus is going on the sidewalk in front of the federal courthouse in Manhattan. I was wrong yesterday when I suggested, or I didn't suggest, I just thought it was a no-brainer. I thought that Tenny Garagos from Diddy's defense team, I thought that she would be the lead prosecutor or the lead cross-examiner when it came to Cassie. I was wrong. It wasn't her. I was right, though, in how I was thinking about it. They couldn't possibly put a man there. Mark Agnolfino, whatever his name is, he's got an ethnically Italian last name, lead attorney for Diddy. He wasn't going to do it. None of the other guys were going to do it. I really thought that Tenny Garagos was the only female, but she's not. They found the other female, Anna Estavao. I don't know. Going to try it. Estavao. Anna Estavo. I'm going with that. Anna Estavo. That's what I'm calling her. She's leading the cross-examination of Cassie. Now, she's an attorney based in New York City. She is not a part of, Mark Agnolfino, again, lead attorney, Mark Agnolfino. Let's call him Agnolfino. We're going to go with that. Difficult names. They can't all be as easy as Diddy and Cassie. Mark Agnolfino is a New York-based attorney. Tenny Garagos and the Garagos firm is LA-based celebrity attorneys. So now we've got Anna Estevao. She's big in Wall Street. She's big in defending like Wall Street scumbags, criminally defending Wall Street scumbags. So that's who she is. She's leading the cross-examination of Cassie, and we'll get into how that all went here. At one point, we're all interested in how's Diddy taking all of this. What's Diddy's mood? Did he shock the world when he wore the same outfit 2 days in a row? Yeah, people are keeping track of what Diddy's wearing. He is a fashion icon. So on Monday and Tuesday, apparently he wore the same outfit. He's wearing a different outfit now. So whatever the concerns were, about his mood, as we extrapolate our interpretations of his mood from his dress. Anyway, Diddy today, he was chatting up some reporters. Diddy seemed jovial. Some courtroom watchers said that seemed to be in a good mood today. It says here, Diddy asked a group of reporters seated behind him, how you doing? How you doing? Started chatting them up. Alex Fine, who is the husband of Cassie, who is 8 months pregnant. He's the husband of Cassie, and he's also the father of her 2 other children and the one on the way. He was in court. It's interesting. I always like to point out the people who are having the most awkward of moments in court. And as Cassie's loving husband has to sit there listening to all of this just botched detailed, salacious details about how wild she was. That's got to be hard. I don't know that it's any harder than Janice Combs, who was in court again today. Janice is Diddy's mom, sitting right there in the front row, watching all of this stuff, man. Woo. Well, I'll tell you, she's a mom, so she's not shocked to find that he's masturbating, she was his mom. I'm sure she found a bunch of crusty old socks and all kinds of things. That happens. What else do we need to mention here? A little bit more. I'm sorry, Lee, I got a little bit more here on the whole judge saying that Cassie's going to be limited now to just a day and a half, thwarting the plans of the defense to have her come back into next week, beginning with Monday. It says here, Combs' lawyer, Mark Agnifilo. There you go. See, it's easy for me to say it when I'm reading it. Combs' lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, said that he was surprised to hear that there was suddenly a hard deadline on how he was going to be able to cross-examine Cassie Ventura. He says, this is a critical witness in a case that involves a life sentence. The man makes a point. He does make a point. I don't know. I just, here's what I like as someone who's committed to cover this case every single day. I like that Judge Aaron Subramanian is actually keeping a tight schedule. Okay, so I can see how Mark Agnifilo might have a problem, feeling a bit constrained suddenly with a key witness that he needs to dismantle. But also, come on, man, let's just get to the details. Combs' lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, he said that he was surprised. This is a critical witness in a case that involves a life sentence. However, Judge Subramanian didn't budge, noting that everyone agreed ahead of time that Ventura's testimony would be completed by the end of week 1, which is good. So I guess from the very beginning, in chambers or wherever, this judge has conveyed to both of these guys that, look, I'm going to be consistent here. We're going to run a tight ship. We're not going to get spun off into the weeds and have this thing go on for 9 months. This is supposed to be, at most, a 2-month trial. So he seems to be doing everything in his powers to keep that there. Subramanian didn't budge, noting that everyone had agreed that this would Ventura's testimony would conclude by the end of week 1. He told the defense team that they would need to finish up by Friday morning, but he did say that he might give them a little more time Friday after lunch. So we do expect now, from the words of Judge Subramanian, we do expect Cassie to wrap up testimony tomorrow by the end of, and then it's on to whatever comes next, man. I'll tell you, kids, this is week 1. Holy schmokles. We got more escorts that are going to come up. We got all kinds of things that I'm telling you, we don't even know what we have to look forward to. This is just week 1. This is going to get deep. This is going to get creepy. It already has. I know. What am I saying? Pugs, a couple days ago, you're telling us about how he's peeing on her and all kinds of weird jizz play. I know. It's going to get even weirder. So buckle up. All right. As I said, the big question, how is Diddy doing? A lot of people are wondering what's going on with him. Here's some notes here. It says that Combs looked back. He chatted up a couple of reporters. He made a heart sign to his kids. That's good. Oh, by the way, about the kids, here's another note from court today. The daughters aren't showing up anymore. Apparently, the daughters have had enough of dad standing in the corner jerking it. Daughters don't want to hear that nonsense anymore. Daughters ain't showing up. Sons are. Sons get it. Sons are like, sometimes you got to release the toxins. Sons are like, I get it, Dad. All right. Daughters, they don't need any more of this. My question is, how is Mom hanging? Right? Mom's still there. Good for Mom. Moms are badass. Doesn't matter who the mom is. Moms are typically badass in these moments. All right. It says the Bad Boy Records founder was holding a pack of Post-it notes and a pen through most of today's proceedings. He'd been standing. So he was standing at the defense table at one point, speaking with his lawyers, when he looked over and acknowledged 2 reporters who'd been studying his demeanor. Earlier in the day, Combs had tried to approach people during a sidebar with his lawyers. Combs hopped over his lawyer, Mark Agnifilo's chair briefly. But a courtroom personnel person, I'm guessing a bailiff, but it says courtroom personnel, shook his head immediately at Combs and waved his finger. No. He gave him this. Combs tried to like go and talk to somebody in the crowd, and they were like, no. And to his credit, Diddy did what he was told. Diddy then gestured prayer hands towards his children before leaving the courtroom for lunch. Okay. We went through all the stuff that was happening outside. So now let's get into what exactly was covered today. Day two of Cassie, day one of the cross-examination. The thing that I was most interested in is what was the tone going to be, again, because you're defending a man who is facing life in prison, maybe deserved. I don't know. That's up to the prosecution to prove. They haven't done it yet. I am still, after 4 days, I'm still saying that the prosecution is not proving their case. I believe they overcharged him. I believe he's guilty of a whole bunch of really skeevy, gross stuff, but not the big stuff that they want to put him in jail for life for. I think he's going to get off. I do. As of 4 days, I think, but we'll see. Like we said, there's a lot more to go. Who knows? But what tone would the defense team affect in cross-examining this 8-month pregnant woman who we've just heard some of the most disturbing sexual details about? You got to worry about that jury, man. They got to worry about that stuff. Defense attorney Anna Estevo's questioning of Cassie so far today has been clinical and civil, with both women remaining calm and composed. So there was none of this, is it true that on this date you... No, it wasn't true. Is it true, Your Honor, the badgering the witness? None of that. None of that went down. It was all civil. All right. She was understated. Again, if I'm Diddy, I'm like, can she go a little harder? This is, life in prison I'm looking at. But it was civil. She's a pregnant woman being handled with kid gloves, I imagine. Estavo appeared to be trying to establish that Sean Diddy Combs and Cassie had a loving relationship through showing affectionate, sweet messages that they exchanged between 2008 and 2011. Estavo, the lawyer for Diddy, was reading messages from Combs to Cassie while Cassie is reading the communications she sent to Combs from her BlackBerry. So it's basically a back and forth kind of a deal where you've got the defense attorney reading Combs's part and then Cassie reading her part. I don't know how well this went for the prosecution, but I'll continue reading. Jurors learned that the Bad Boy Records founder sometimes referred to Cassie as BG, standing for baby girl, while Cassie often referred to Combs as Pop Pop, the name she called her grandfather that Combs requested she use. Now, we learned about Pop Pop a couple days ago. That was a part of Cassie testifying about how Diddy was like mentally manipulative and like did all of these really weird, creepy things. Diddy specifically asked Cassie if she had a name, a pet name for her grandfather whom she loved. And she said, I do. It's Pop Pop. And so Diddy, according to Cassie, wanted to be called Pop Pop. Kind of a weird, kind of creepy thing. Wanted to be called Pop Pop during sex, during intimate moments, during, freak-offs. Pop Pop, what she called her grandfather. So that was weird. So we learned that she was baby girl and that he is Pop Pop. At one point, Estavo called Cassie, look at this, wondering how she's going to handle the pregnant woman. At one point, she called Cassie beautiful and charming, to which Cassie responded by laughing and smiling. It was very friendly. It's not contentious at all. The sometimes respectful treatment comes as Estavo tries to paint Cassie as a willing, enthusiastic participant in Diddy's depraved drug-fueled baby oil freak-offs. Cassie has testified that the often humiliating freak-offs became like a job that she didn't want to do and that she felt trapped by Combs. Okay, so that's her contention. Remember, this is the entire basis for the case. This is why we're trotting this pregnant woman up on stage. She is claiming that she was forced to do all of these things by the demanding slave master, Sean Diddy Combs. She is claiming that she didn't want to be a part of any of this. Okay, and so it's the job of the defense kind of disprove that. To be like, really? You didn't want to be a part of any of this. Okay, so that's why we're establishing that Cassie was in love with Diddy, which I think is dangerous. For the defense to want. I mean, I don't think the defense. Look, I don't want to get in the weeds on this. Let's stay dialed in. Cassie has testified that the often humiliating freak-offs became like a job that she didn't want to do and that she felt trapped by the violent Combs. So the defense is trying to establish that, okay, you're saying you felt trapped, but we're also trying to establish, no, you loved him. You were staying there because you loved him. You were in love. This was a partnership, a romantic partnership. Which, again, I don't really believe to be true either, because I feel like I have been in legitimate romantic partnerships and they didn't involve my partner being able to make me a megastar, which was always my dreams, right? This may be a sexual and romantic relationship, but Diddy's got the hand in this relationship. I mean, she's there. If Diddy, again, I hate to say this, but if Diddy was a bartender at a club, would she be with him? Probably not. She was with Diddy and going along with all of these things, I believe. And I don't even know that she would deny, because she felt he was a kingmaker, because he was a good person to have a connection with. And oh my God, what kind of connection? He loves me. I can make him love me. I love him. That's what this was about. It went squirrely on her. And we're trying to figure out if, some of these terrible things that happened to her happened in spite of the fact that she liked him, that she truly was a prisoner. I don't know. I'm not seeing that yet. Let's continue. Some emails. Again, we'll go back to the emails and the text messages between the two, because this was really damning. This next little part here, I think, set the prosecution back. The jury had been shown a series of messages that Cassie Ventura allegedly sent to Sean Diddy Combs, saying that she was excited to partake in the freak-offs. She did. There was a text exchange between Diddy and Cassie. And remember, Cassie is, if we're believing her, Cassie is a prisoner. Cassie is being used and enslaved sexually and forced to do all of these things while on drugs. Remember, this is what we need to believe in order to put this man in jail for life. And the defense got up there and showed a text message where Diddy said, "Are you ready for the freak off?" And she said, "I'm always ready to freak off." That's an enthusiastic response. So from Diddy's point of view, are we to believe that if Cassie was in fact imprisoned, and again, I'm only going by the first 4 days, right? This way that I'm looking at this could change when new evidence comes out. But if we are to believe that Cassie was a prisoner here and that all of this was being done against her will, would we expect that level of enthusiasm in a text about it? I'm always ready to freak off, she says. And to that extent, what blame can we put on Diddy at this point? Should he be thinking, "Oh, I really shouldn't do this. She's really not into this"? No, she's conveying the opposite in this text message. "I'm always ready for a freak off, baby." It's all very complicated. There's going to be a lot more coming that we're going to have to weed through. And again, I'm not making judgment yet. We do this every night. Every night, if you listen to this thing every night, and it was my hope that you and I can both change over time as new information comes. But right now, 4 days in, I am not seeing the prosecution prove their case. It says here, jury had been shown a series of messages. Here's what Cassie sent back. "I'm always ready to freak off. LOL. The LOL, that means a lot. That means a lot in modern conversation. That means she's totally cool with the whole thing. LOL. Ventura wrote that in a BlackBerry message to Combs on August 5th, 2009, roughly 2 years into their relationship, when she was in her early 20s and he was in his late 40s. The duo decided that they would hold one of their marathon sex sessions on a Friday night that week. Okay, so this is the text exchange. They're planning the Friday. She has already said that "I'm always always ready for a freak off. Her words. So he's like, okay, we'll do it Friday. Jurors also heard more explicit messages in which Ventura seemed to express excitement about taking part in the twisted freak-offs. After these messages were read out, Ventura asked for a break and grabbed her 8-month pregnant belly with both hands. I predicted this yesterday. I said that look, make no mistake about who Cassie is. Cassie, the victim, is a person deserving of our compassion. Cassie, the victim, as it's been portrayed, is a beautiful woman and all of this stuff. And look at her. And we saw her getting ragdolled in the hallway. And that is all incredibly disturbing. But also, Cassie is not the beautiful girl who lives down the block who's quiet and shy. Cassie is a performer. She's an R&B performer. She's a sex symbol. Make no mistake about that. When Cassie was up on that stage and when they were creating her brand and marketing her, she was a sex symbol. She is not an innocent, okay? At least not the brand that we were shown. So I don't know. Cassie the victim, innocent. This stuff all happened to her. But then again, we know the world that she was in. She was a sexy R&B performer for Bad Boy Records. Again, she's not from Pennsylvania, Amish country. And I predicted yesterday that I believe that she may, when it gets too uncomfortable, she may use the pregnant thing. And here we had that today on display. She rubbed her belly and she said it broke for lunch. She was feeling uncomfortable. These signals expressed to the judge caused them to break for lunch. We're getting into something. Right as they're showing these emails, these text messages that show her being gamefully interested in the Friday freak off. I'm always down for a freak off. Before they went any further, she began rubbing her belly, showing that she was uncomfortable, and the judge broke for lunch. Okay. These are theatrics. Look, she's pregnant. She is absolutely 8 months pregnant. That may have been completely real. But I am not putting it past her to use her pregnancy. She's a performer. She knows about optics and how things look. Ventura previously testified that she had participated in freak-offs to please Combs alone, and because she wanted to avoid his anger if she didn't participate, which often resulted in him beating her. The defense has said that it will show that Combs' alleged victims were actually all willing participants in these freak-offs. Another story, there was a story that was told. She testified on stand today that at her 21st birthday party in Las Vegas, which has now come to be known as day one of Diddy and Cassie, her 21st birthday party is where Diddy kissed her. She said she didn't want to kiss him, which, okay. Diddy, you're a young Pop-Tart. You don't have a problem kissing him. I'm sorry, you don't have a problem kissing him. Anyway, this is that famous birthday party. Diddy, yeah, here's what it is from that birthday party. Other than him trying to kiss her, Diddy brought Britney Spears to the party. And I got to tell you, there's pictures here. I'm going to show you some of these pictures. What is going on with Britney Spears? Are these the Britney pictures? Nah, never mind. I'm not going to show the pictures. Even back then, this was her 21st birthday party. So this is like 10 years ago, 2009, 15 years ago, whatever. Britney looked all dumpy. What's up? Britney was wearing like a sundress that was all wrinkled and she looked sloppy, like she'd been falling down. And then she was wearing a stupid hat that didn't match her outfit. Britney's kind of always been, you see Britney now on Instagram and she's in her bikini with swords or something. And you're like, what the fuck happened to Britney? I'm telling you, this picture here, there are pictures of Britney from Cassie's 21st birthday party. Puff Daddy, Diddy, whatever he was called then. He brought Britney. She was looking dumpy then. Anyway, moving on. I don't need to get in the weeds. We got a lot to cover here. Cassie also testified today on the stand that during the early freak-offs, and I don't know how many she participated in. We're talking a dozen? And not only that, but wrap your mind around this. These are only the freak-offs that Cassie participated in. Cassie's been out of his life for the last 15 years. You telling me that he just stopped having freak-offs? No, right? There's got to be more stories out there. Cassie says that she wore, in the beginning, masks and wigs. And when prosecution asked her about this yesterday, remember, she's a witness for the prosecution, they said, you wore masks and wigs, did you not? And she said, yes. Yes, I did. Why? Why did you wear masks and wigs? She said, because I was so ashamed of what I was doing, because I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to be doing the freak offs, and I wanted to hide who I was. That's what she said while on direct examination from prosecution. Well, today, the defense brought that whole thing up. Why are you wearing wigs? Why are you wearing wigs? And she said, again, oh, it's because I didn't want to be seen, and I was embarrassed, I humiliated, I was being forced to do this, I wasn't a willing participant. Then the defense told us something we didn't hear yesterday, that Diddy himself was also wearing a disguise. Well, why was Diddy wearing a disguise, she was asked, and it turned out that it was Diddy's idea that they both wear masks and that they both wear disguises, not because they were ashamed of what they were doing and were trying to hide, as Cassie presented yesterday, but she admitted that it was Diddy's idea because he was afraid, what if one of these tapes got out? We need plausible deniability. We need to be able to say that this isn't us. So that's why, apparently, she was wearing a mask. Not because of what she said yesterday, which was because it was a way for her to hide. It was a way for her if she was shamed, she didn't want to do it. No, it was in fact, through defense cross-examination, it was in fact Diddy's idea the whole time that they wear masks. There was another example here, defense. Now remember, if a lot of this seems today, like Pugs, you seem like you're being a little bit harsher today on Cassie. Well, Cassie is on the stand, and this is the defense doing cross. So the defense doing cross, any of the news that we're going to get today is probably going to be a little bit less positive for Cassie. Okay, so this is the defense brought up on cross-examination some emails. Some of the emails that Cassie had sent. Now, remember, Cassie is putting out there that she was a prisoner. She didn't want to be there. He was holding her career over her head, blah, blah, blah. So in order to thwart that storyline, the defense introduced a whole bunch of emails from Cassie where Cassie seems to be manipulating Diddy in the ways that we've all been in relationships. We play relationship games. But these are all relationship games typically played by two people who are in a relationship where they both feel comfortable expressing, something that they're upset about. If she were, in fact, this prisoner, she wouldn't be writing long emails where she's talking about all the things that he does wrong. If she was, in fact, this fearful of him, as we've been led to believe, these emails that were introduced today kind of blow that completely out of the water. She seemed to be she seemed to be a typical bitchy girlfriend. All guys have these girlfriends who have these complaints. Well, we saw that in these emails that she wasn't afraid to be that girlfriend. Despite her testifying that she was afraid of the beatings and all that. And she was beaten. We are not saying that he is not a horseshit human being and that this was a garbage, toxic relationship. Nobody is saying this. What we're questioning now is why she stayed. And the defense is trying to prove that she stayed not because she felt like she was a prisoner, but she stayed because she was waiting for him to make good on creating a career for her, which he didn't do. Again, it goes back to what I've always felt this relationship was, transactional. Cassie's email are introduced. Many seem manipulative. Ventura smiled as Sean Diddy Combs' lawyers brought up an email that she wrote to her then boyfriend just a few weeks after her 21st birthday. It's making me giggle because it's from 2007, Ventura told the court. Dismissively. I'm going to say dismissively. I'm adding that. I wasn't there. But knowing the context, seems like that can be read dismissively. The particular email expressed how grateful Ventura was to be in the much older music producer's life, but also criticized how she felt that he was constantly weary of her. She also felt in this letter that Diddy would be more happy, or happier, I should say, with his assistant, Carrie Morgan, who was her friend, who was another model. So she's basically writing this email to him where she's like, you shouldn't be with me. You should be with her. And things that like girlfriends do. You don't even like me. Just kind of like trying to get that response of, no, baby, you're my number one girl, and all of that kind of stuff. Diddy's defense asks Cassie about ruining Diddy's career. Okay. Because I guess by any measure, you could say that Diddy's career is over, at least in the modern. Cassie admitted that she didn't know of anyone being aware of Sean Diddy Combs' freak-offs until her 2023 lawsuit revealed them. Fair to say, Mr. Combs' career was ruined, Combs' lawyer Anna Estavio said. When your lawsuit was published in 2023, you understand his career was ruined, right? I could understand that. Yeah, Cassie responded. Cassie wanted a relationship with his kids. This is interesting. This is another interesting revelation if we are to believe that she felt like a prisoner. Cassie, numerous times over their relationship, complained that she did not, as his number one girl, as his main public squeeze, right? They were in a public relationship. She felt that she did not have access to his children or was being given opportunity to have a relationship with his children in the way that she had witnessed other people having relationships with ex's children. Here's what she said. She criticized him. Again, remember, these are important emails because they paint a picture of a relationship that we have not been told about. We've been told about the relationship from Cassie. It's horrible. We saw the video. And we extrapolate from seeing that video that every day of every month must have been exactly like that. She was in hell. He needs to go to prison for life. That's what we're being asked to believe. And I'm not against believing that. Show me proof of it, though. Show me proof of it. These emails are not helping with that. Here's what she said to Diddy in this email about her having access to his children. Okay? As much as you think you're Bruce Willis, you're not. All right, it starts off kind of hot. Kind of angry. Who do you think you're not Bruce Willis. The reason she's saying that is because she's drawing comparisons to the relationship that Bruce Willis and Demi Moore have. Demi Moore is with Ashton Kutcher, but Ashton Kutcher seems to have a relationship with Bruce Willis's kids. Bruce Willis has a relationship with, it's that kind of thing, As much as you think you're Bruce Willis, you aren't, Ventura wrote Combs on July 2nd. She's not afraid. She's not like worried to look at him the wrong way as we heard him. She's sending him emails where she's like, fuck you, you ain't Bruce Willis. As much as you think you're Bruce Willis, you aren't, Ventura wrote Combs on July 2nd, 2013. He's married, and before he was married, the family as a whole went on trips together. Or just him and the kids. Eddie Murphy and Paige took his kids away out of town on their own. So she's comparing her relationship with Diddy's kids with Kim Porter, Diddy's previous long-term relationship. She's comparing her relationship with Diddy's kids to the way Bruce Willis and Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher handle their thing. Or, more to the point here, Eddie Murphy and his wife, Paige. She's jealous that Eddie Murphy's wife, Paige, gets to go on family trips where Eddie brings the kids from previous marriages. So she's a very comfortable girlfriend if she is issuing these kinds of angry emails, and more to the point, if she is trapped, if she is a prisoner, a sex slave, whatever, why does she want a relationship with his kids? Again, why does she want, that doesn't mesh with what we're being asked to believe from the prosecution. The R&B singer, Cassie, was apparently referencing how Eddie Murphy's wife, Paige Butcher, has a relationship with the comedian's children from previous relationships. Willis also has a blended family after having kids with his first wife, Demi Moore, and second wife, Emma Heming. Ventura's message to Diddy, goes on to say that she had been on the edge of tears all week. Ventura clarified for the jury that she was upset that she didn't have the chance to form a relationship with Diddy's children. She wanted to be there. I mean, this is the fence establishing that she had she wanted to be there. She was a willing participant in this lifestyle. Now, I will add on top of that I think that she was willing and wanted to be there because there was a transactional nature to all of this. She was hoping to be made into Mariah Carey. But whatever, it doesn't matter. Both of those things support, or I should say, certainly marginalize her contention that she was there as a prisoner. You know, I got to tell you, as this case goes on, I'm no fan of Diddy. I think there's a part of me that wanted to believe all of this. Look at that asshole, because he seems like an asshole. I wanted to believe all this stuff. And by the way, he is a piece of shit. He is obviously a piece of garbage. But I'm just not convinced that Cassie is. Oh, she's been victimized. We've seen the video. She is the victim of domestic abuse. She is the victim of probably mental cruelty. And unfortunately, those are not charges that he is facing. You could get him on both of those, and you could probably put him in jail for a year. But they went life. God, we keep coming back to this idea that I think they overcharged him. All right, continuing on from Cassie's day 2 of testimony. This is the cross-examination edition. Cassie also said on the stand today that she often watched Diddy with other women. Combs' lawyers, Anna Estavo, who's been cross-examining Cassie all day, seems to be suggesting that the freak-offs were simply part of Combs' swingers lifestyle. But Ventura responded that while a swingers lifestyle is related to freak-offs in a sexual way, the two concepts were actually very different. On Wednesday, Ventura said that the Bad Boy Records founder convinced her that it would be fun to go to sex clubs. Ventura testified that she occasionally watched Sean have sex with other women, and that it had happened between 2 and 4 times. She's quoted now on the stand saying about his relationships with other women in front of her, because remember, he likes to watch her with other men. Cassie said on the stand, it happened, but not often. She said, noting that Combs had brought up her watching him with other women frequently, though. So Cassie admitted on the stage that, yes, he did engage in sex with other women and that she did watch from time to time, but not frequently. And then she also mentioned that he wanted it to be more frequent. It happened, but not often, Ventura said, noting that Combs had brought up her watching him with other women frequently. So he was asking for it. By the way, that is also interesting because, you know, in the ramp up to this trial, and honestly, in the years leading up to his homes being raided last year, you know, there were all of these stories. He's gay, you know, oh, you got these videos. Oh, he and Meek Mill, you know, a whole bunch of homosexual Diddy's on the down low kind of stuff. That was all before the court. We have not heard any of that in this court case. We have heard that he likes to watch his girlfriends get railed by stallion male escorts. We've heard that. We even heard from Daniel Phillip on day 1, one of the male escorts that was paid $6,000 to participate in these marathon sex sessions with Cassie. But he didn't testify. He didn't testify that Sean ever did anything with him. And now Cassie is saying that, you know, Diddy was having sex with other women. So at the very least, you know, he's bisexual. People were trying to make it out, oh, he's gay, he's gay. I don't know. I'm not seeing any evidence so far offered up in court on the record that says that Diddy did anything with guys. So just keep an ear open, keep an eye open for that. We'll see if that changes. But as of right now, It's all been about heterosexual sex. Addiction became a big conversation today on the stand. They asked the defense, cross-examination of Cassie. They asked her about her addictions because, again, now this is something that I've sort of been hanging on to, and I'm going to let it go now. Since day one, when Daniel Phillip was on the stand, I've been hanging on to his testimony that said that he never saw Cassie under the influence of drugs, and he had participated in many freak-offs. In other words, he'd had sex with Cassie for hours at a time, many times, intimate knowledge of Cassie, in the most literal sense of intimate knowledge. And he says he never saw her high. And he went on to add that he saw her a little bit inebriated one time, or so he thought, and Diddy pulled her out of the freak-off. Now, that suggested that Diddy was in some way looking out for her during these freak-off sessions, which was weird because, again, Daniel Phillips was testifying as a witness for the prosecution, although he let that slide during cross-examination. These are 2 days now where we've had Diddy's defense team cross-examine key witnesses for the prosecution and make them give up shit that the prosecution didn't want them to give up. So the drug thing. I've been holding on to this idea that maybe Cassie wasn't really on drugs because the one guy who was there having sex with her, not named Diddy, is saying she wasn't. But seems like they're talking openly about drugs. Seems like nobody is glommed onto that the way I have, so I'm going to let it go. I'm just going to suggest that maybe that guy, he's not really a good judge of telling when people are on drugs or not. Maybe that's just it. Maybe Daniel Phillips doesn't know when people are on drugs. So they talked about Cassie's addiction. Cassie was asked about Diddy's addictions as well as her own. And I'm wondering, are they signaling that his dependency is, are they trying to now, is the defense trying to offer some sort of evidence that Diddy has dependency issues and that maybe, all of this is just because he's out of his mind on drugs? Is that something that they're doing here? Because the defense is the one who wants to start talking about Diddy doing drugs. Again, you got to ask yourself, is that their plan? Moving down in the weeks to come, Diddy the drug addict. We'll see. What substances did Diddy use? Estevo asked Cassie on the stand. Ventura said that it varied, but that Combs at one point was addicted to opioids and that she had witnessed him going through withdrawal on more than one occasion. So much so, by the way, there is a story. Did you know this? They testified in court to this today, and the defense was offering it like it was fact, but I don't believe we ever heard this in the media. Diddy OD'd at the Playboy Mansion. Diddy OD'd on apparently opioids. They testified today that he said that he had taken way too powerful opioids, and while partying at the Playboy Mansion, Diddy OD'd. We never heard that. And this isn't like Cassie talking shit. This is the defense. This is Diddy's lawyers going, hey, remember when Diddy OD'd? So it's true. He did. We just didn't hear about it. Also, Cassie Ventura admitted on the stand today that she was very jealous of Kim Porter. Kim Porter is, of course, the deceased mother of many of Diddy's kids. Diddy was in a relationship with Kim Porter in the early 90s, going all the way up until right about the time that he had met Cassie. Kim Porter died suspiciously, by the way, and I say suspiciously because my boy Headcrack from Dish Nation, he's got a whole theory and a whole bunch of knowledge that I don't have on that. So he's going to join us. He'll be back on Monday when we do the full panel show. I'm going to be sure and ask. We're going to get into the whole Kim Porter thing because she died suspiciously. I mean, not like, and I got to imagine that Diddy's ex, whatever, mother of a bunch of his kids, I got to imagine that she was a pretty constant thorn in his side. And then she dies. Suddenly all his problems go. I'm just saying, we're going to get into more of that on Monday. Monday with Headcrack and James Parker from WBAP. Cassie was jealous of Kim Porter. Ventura admitted that it upset her that Combs spent all the holidays with Kim, with whom he shared son Christian 26 and twins Delilah and Jesse. Porter died in 2018. So again, we're talking about somebody who is wanting us to believe that she was trapped in a prisoner and she was a part of this big sex trafficking ring that he was running. But she wants to spend the holidays with him. She wants to spend that, this is all not good. The defense is doing an incredible job. This cross-examination, and by the way, we know this now because it's done for the day. We'll see how it picks up tomorrow. They didn't beat her up. They didn't beat her up. The 8-month pregnant woman on the stand did not get beat up by a defense that I thought they had to beat her up. They didn't. They were able to get a whole bunch of stuff today that countered a whole bunch of the stuff that the prosecution got her to say in open court yesterday. And that's the job of the cross, to knock down everything that got put up there yesterday. Let's see what else. More of the enthusiasm stuff. Okay, so here's the note I've got here. The defense shows evidence of Cassie's enthusiasms for freak-offs. It's another big bombshell. It's very bad. We've been talking a couple of days now about how we know that Cassie was booking the escorts. That this wasn't Cassie being let out of her box and then into a hotel room where 6 male prostitutes have been hired to service her by somebody she doesn't know. No. She was the one doing the booking. She was picking them. She was asking ones back that she found particularly nice. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. A sexually liberated woman in 2025, hey, you go girl, as they say. But again, it doesn't seem like she was, she was being victimized here. As a part of a sex trafficking ring. There you go. I think that's how I'm going to say it now. She doesn't seem like she's being victimized as part of a sex trafficking ring. She certainly does. She's victimized in the video. We see her getting beat up. By the way, isn't it interesting too? Imagine if that video didn't exist. If that video didn't exist and we didn't see it. I mean, this case would look like it's over. I'd be like, you know what? This case is over. The prosecution, they're not going to be able to sink these charges. Are they insane? But we have the video. And we've all seen the video. So we're willing to give it some time. Because that video is appalling. But the defense did today show some evidence of Cassie's enthusiasm as so far as the freak-offs are concerned. Sean Diddy Combs once texted Cassie to, quote, have fun and impress me. Now, why did he say that? Because Cassie sent him a text telling him that she was going to a sex shop to get all kinds of cool stuff for their next freak-off. Hey, baby, I'm going to... This isn't the text. Please don't take me out of context. But it was probably something like that. Hey, baby, I'm going to getting some freak-off stuff. He responded, have fun. Impress me. Okay, all right. The jury saw messages between the couple sent on May the 26th, 2017. This is near the end of the relationship. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the one. Okay, hold on. Let me see here. You know what? Let me just read this because there are some things. This might be the bombshell. Hold on. The jury saw messages between the couple sent on May the 26th, 2017, near the end of their relationship, about her run to a sex shop called the Pleasure Chest. Ventura testified that when she went to the X-rated store, she would get different sexual supplies, lubricants, outfits, and toys. Another message showed the pair appearing to try to avoid getting pregnant. After Combs suggested having one of our freak-off nights, Ventura responded that she was ovulating. And Combs responded that they would just have to be extra careful. All right, there you go. There's a point for the prosecution. Because that you can say, she's saying that she doesn't want to do it. I'm ovulating, baby. That's not the same thing as I'm always down for a freak off that we heard from her earlier in today's testimony. Ventura said she was ovulating. He's like, that's okay. We'll be careful. That's just a horny dude right there. That's okay, baby. We'll make sure. I'll pull out. Ventura also said to Combs in a 2017 message regarding a freak off. Here's a bombshell. I'm too excited. Exclamation point. Exclamation point. She's too excited. He texted her, "Are you ready for the freak off?" And she texted back, "I am too excited." Why is that important? Because this is at the end of their relationship. This is in 2017. Let me keep reading here because I think it's going to get even crazier. Hold on. Ventura also said to Combs in a 2017 message after he's ready, "Are you ready for the freak off?" She said, "I'm too excited" about their upcoming sex marathon. She also messaged Combs that she forgot the iPad. The iPad is how they film these things, which Ventura testified was used to record the sex marathons. Okay, wait, there was another bombshell coming up, all right? And I think it's going to tie that together. But first, we have to talk about the Kid Cudi situation. We mentioned Kid Cudi every night. Kid Cudi is another hip-hop guy. He apparently had a little fling with Cassie while Cassie was with Diddy. And Diddy lost his shit about this whole thing, and that's where the arson charges, the federal arson charges that he's facing. He blew up Kid Cudi's car, or the government is trying to make a case that he blew up Kid Cudi's car. I guess the first question you'd ask is, "Hey, Pugs, did Kid Cudi's car blow up?" And I'd say it sure did, right there in his driveway. And I'll add this. It blew up like a week after Diddy threatened to blow up Kid Cudi's car for having an affair with Cassie. Cassie Ventura said that it would have been way too dangerous if Sean Diddy Combs had found out that she was having a relationship with Cudi. Ventura said that she used a burner phone in her relationship with Scott Mescudi. That's Cudi's name. Scooty. Scott Mescudi. Scott Mescudi. Look at that. There's where Cudi comes from. Ventura said she used a burner phone in her relationship with Cudi. So she's, she's out there doing her girl thing. She's out there running around, getting some strange, as they say. Ventura said she used a burner phone with Cudi, real name Scott Mescudi, even when she was on a break with Combs. She testified here, a quote now from Cassie, "I did not want Sean to find out. I thought it would have been way too dangerous." She also said that she, quote, "could have possibly felt justified cheating on Combs with Mescudi, Kid Cudi, since she knew that Combs was also seeing other women. All right, so there you go. You have that. A jealous Diddy suspected that Cassie had a relationship with actor Michael B. Jordan. Here we go. We got some Michael B. Jordan stuff. His name was name-checked in the first week during jury selections. We were wondering how he would be introduced into this trial. It says here, Cassie Ventura, while testifying about infidelities and jealousies during her decade-long relationship with Diddy, casually dropped another A-list star's name. She says here, there's a quote, Combs suspected, here's a quote from the defense. Combs suspected you were also in a relationship with someone else. Who was that? Asked defense attorney Anna Estavo. Michael B. Jordan, Ventura responded. Ventura also testified that Combs had been enraged over her short-lived relationship with Kid Cudi. She acknowledged that she had carried on that affair in part to retaliate against Combs' own infidelities. They also found out today, remember, she was on drugs. He's plying her with drugs. This is all another part of the federal charges. All right? Testified today that she and Diddy referred to themselves as, quote, get high partners. Sean Diddy Combs and Cassie Ventura called each other get high partners. She testified while being grilled by his attorney about their drug use. Part of the reason you wanted to participate in freak-offs was to have time with him. It was a special time with him that you cherished. Anna Estavo, Combs' attorney, asked Cassie. Cassie responded, yes. Repeating the one-word answer when Estavo then asked, it was a time to connect with him, was it not? Yes. Did you ever call each other get high partners? she continued, to which Ventura replied, yes. So again, this speaks to the idea in the image that I had of the drug-fueled parties, that Diddy was a guy who was getting everybody hot, or getting everybody high, probably hot too, getting everybody high. You know, you imagine these horrible sex these words conjure images. Sex trafficking, right? I'm thinking of 115 teenage Chinese girls in the back of like some shipping container. Thinking of them being drugged up for sex. Oh, as you step out of the container, let's shoot them in the arm with some drug to make them drug. I mean, that's what I'm picturing. I'm picturing this whole thing. It's starting to seem now more like these were all people who were down to get freaky, and the drugs weren't something that were being given to people so that they would perform. The drugs were just baked in because Diddy himself was doing the drugs. These were drug prices. Wasn't Diddy using drugs to manipulate and control other people? This was just him going, let's get fucked up and have crazy sex. Debauched? Yes. Offensive to my Midwestern values? Possibly. I don't know if that rises to the level of sex trafficking. So they're get high partners. They're acknowledging now that not only was she, because we've heard about how she was an addict and it's so sad, and look at her, she's so beautiful, and now she's a pregnant mom and she had to go through this, she was an addict. We're also learning that Diddy was an addict. That she wasn't forced into addiction because of, you know, her role as a sex slave. No, they were just drugs everywhere. It was part of the lifestyle. Estevo then noted there were periods when Combs didn't approve of Ventura using drugs. Ventura has previously testified that drugs were a big part of the twisted freak-offs Combs allegedly coerced her to partake in. Remember, she's claiming, like, oh, do these drugs, baby. And she's like, I'm just an innocent girl. All of this bullshit about her being this innocent girl. Do you remember her 21st birthday? She's like, I was embarrassed when he tried to kiss me. And then a week later, he invites her to the honeymoon suite at the Trump Hotel in Manhattan, where she testified that he introduced her to oral sex. We're being asked to believe that this R&B act on Bad Boy Records doesn't know what oral sex is. Have you seen her? I mean, there have been guys trying to get with her. I mean, she's beautiful. I don't buy it. I'm just not buying the innocent victim thing here. She might be a victim. I'm just questioning how innocent she is. Ventura had previously testified that drugs were a big part of the twisted freak-offs. Let's see. He coerced her, allegedly, to take these drugs, recalling one terrifying incident when she woke up naked in the shower after ingesting GHB. She testified that yesterday. She said she developed an on-again, off-again opioid addiction, relying on the pills to help her feel numb after taking part in the freak-offs. Again, as I said yesterday, I don't know that that's how opioid addiction works. I don't know that it's an on and an off again thing. James Parker yesterday pushed back on me. He said, no, you can't. I don't think so. I think you're either an opioid addict or you're in recovery. I don't know that it's on and off again. But anyway, at some point, though, today, the 8-month pregnant Cassie did get a little bit snippy. She wasn't again, I wasn't there again, but I'm reading all this. Doesn't seem like she was pushed too hard. Doesn't seem like the defense overstepped with the pregnant woman, but Cassie did get a little irritated. She got snippy, as it's being described. Estevo, Diddy's lawyer, had been asking Cassie about her drug use and getting treated in a rehab facility. Ventura admitted that she once went to a rehab in Sedona, Arizona in 2017, but it didn't stick. And after she got out, she took part in another freak-off with Combs almost immediately. Ventura hasn't lost her cool on the stand during the marathon grilling, but her answers have gotten shorter and more tense. Here's an example they offer. When Estevo implied that Cassie was Combs' number 2 woman after his baby mama, Kim Porter, Ventura offered a very quick, terse response, muttering, mm-hmm. Now I'm going to need to see, this is where cameras are really important, because that response is really important, because what Diddy's defense attorney is trying to do is make her jealous. Because if she can be made jealous, you can then make the case that she actually loves Diddy and was there the whole time, not as a prisoner, but as a willing participant who was in love with this man. So the defense attorney says to her, so you were number 2, right? You were number 2 behind Kim. Kim's always going to be number 1. You were number 2, right? You're number 2 behind Kim. In her response, and I'm reading this, this is why I wish I could see it. But context clues being what they are, her response is essentially, you were Diddy's number 2, right? Because Kim is always number 1. Her response, almost like that bothers her. If she was a prisoner, you would think she'd want to be number 502. Not being upset that, his mother of his children is number 1. That's interesting. That's telling. Cassie getting snippy. Let's see. She responded, muttering, Cassie Ventura quipped, come and find out, when Sean Diddy Combs' lawyer, Anna Estevo, asked her about rehab, saying, it's not a rehab facility, it's a spa. Ventura shot back, why don't you come and find out? I don't know what that means. That seems weird, and I shouldn't have read it that way. Why don't you come and find out? That sounds bitchy. But they did tell us that she was getting snippy. So anyway, I don't understand what that whole exchange was about. It seems like the defense is trying to say you went to rehab, and Cassie's trying to say it's not a rehab, it's a spa. Why don't you come and find out? All right. At another point, Ventura, Cassie, suggested that the jury wasn't hearing the full context of these messages between her and Combs, saying this isn't what I feel is relevant right now, Cassie said while on the stand. There is a lot that we are skipping over. All right, so she is getting a little bit, which would be anyone's right after, a day and 2 full days now. Full day. 1 full day of cross and 1 day of direct. Now looking at having to come back tomorrow. Anybody would be excused for being a little irritated, let alone an 8 months pregnant woman. So there you go. I think she's handling herself well. If that is the worst, then, Godspeed to her. She's holding together right. Then there was, of course, we told you about the OD story. She said that this happened in February of 2012. He had been partying like a crazy man. They were out together. She went home. He took her home. Then he went out again to a late night party at the Playboy Mansion where he OD'd. Combs' lawyer asked, during the entire duration of your relationship, you two were addicted to painkillers. To which Ventura replied, very much so. Let's see here. So this happened right around the time that Whitney Houston died, too. If you're looking for a little bit of a pop culture flag post, you can pop that there. Right around the time that Whitney Houston OD'd, that's when Diddy OD'd at the Playboy Mansion. We never heard about it, never made TMZ. And here, this is how we're going to end today's episode. This is what I think was the big bombshell, and they saved it for the end of testimony today. Again, the cross-examination of Cassie Ventura, the number 1 plaintiff in this case against Diddy, ended this way, with details about how she planned and suggested that they have a freak-off. There were instances where the freak-offs were not Diddy's idea at all, but apparently some freak-offs happened and they were Cassie's idea. Messages between Cassie Ventura and Sean Diddy Combs appear to show that Cassie was taking the lead in planning freak-offs. Hold on, reading. Oh, okay, so this is why this is a bombshell. So we're establishing now that there were instances where she not only booked the talent, if you will, but actually suggested the freak off, booked the hotel, managed every aspect of it, so that all Diddy had to do was show up with his iPad and jerk off in a corner. That's what they're trying to show here. That these things, she wasn't let into a room on a dog collar with a ball gag in her mouth. She was actually producing and orchestrating these things. Now, where does the bombshell come in? Because we already knew about her hiring the escorts. Where does the bombshell come in? The bombshell comes in when this was the video at the Hotel Intercontinental in Southern California that CNN got their hands on about a year ago that shows Diddy beating the crap out of her in a hotel. That occurred after a freak off that she planned, that she booked. That was her idea. Or, this is what we were led to believe by today's cross-examination. Messages between Cassie Ventura and Sean Diddy Combs appear to show that Cassie was taking the lead in planning freak-offs at the hotel where the fallen music mogul infamously beat her up. Here's what they said to her on the stand. You were suggesting, the defense said you were suggesting a freak-off at the hotel where the video occurred. The beating video. You were suggesting that was your idea. You guys were there because you were like, all right, I booked a room. We're having a freak off. Here's what they said. You were suggesting doing a freak off at the hotel. Combs' lawyer, Anna Estevo, asked Ventura. It doesn't say it here, Ventura explained. I don't know what that means. That was her answer. Her answer was the defense directly asked her, you were suggesting doing a freak off at the hotel when you were beaten so mercilessly. They didn't say that, but that's just for our own context. You were suggesting doing a freak off at the hotel. Ventura responded, it doesn't say that here. Then she responded, yes. There you go. She responded, yes. At first, she refused to answer, and then she looked around. She said, yes, I was suggesting doing a freak off at the hotel. Same time when we see the video of him beating me up. Now, we don't have context on, what happened. That's what I'm looking for. I'm sure we're going to get some real context on that video. Not that we need it. Not that any context is going to have us go, well, that's understandable, him ragdolling her like that. No. But we need to understand what was going on because she is claiming, again, that she was a slave and a sex prisoner, and they're trying to say, what? She was a willing participant in this fucked up lifestyle. And yes, it's a fucked up lifestyle, but she was not being forced into this. So that's what we're trying to get to the bottom of. All right, guys, I think that's going to do it. Once again, she's going to take the stand tomorrow. The Judge Aram Subramian, has said, that's it. You can finish up your cross-examination with Cassie tomorrow, but on Monday, we are going to move on to bigger and better things. So we look forward to that. We see if maybe was today the easy day. They're going to go hard on her tomorrow. Boy, I'll tell you, if today was the easy day, I don't know what the hell we're going to get tomorrow because this was a good day for the defense. This was another bad day for the prosecution. I don't believe the prosecution has had what I would call a good day here in the first week. But there is a whole lot of trial left. Keep it here on Radio Misfits, radiomisfits.com. Like, follow, subscribe, do all of that kind of stuff. We're going to do updates every single day that this trial goes on. Hope you join us. All right. Oh, also, don't forget, if you are interested in the kind of talk radio that I do, which is like this, just regular, normal people talk, join me every day for The Rant, also a Radio Misfits production. The Rant with me, Pugs Moran, every day, hot topics, current events, lifestyle talk. I call it talk radio for normal people. Talk radio for normal people. Why? Because we don't see everything through a political prism. I don't care who you voted for. You shouldn't care who I voted for. I'm not even going to talk about who I voted for. You know why? Because it's not interesting. Nobody cares. That's the kind of talk radio that we try to do every day, Monday through Friday, sometimes at noon, sometimes at 2. But my promise is I'll do a show every day. Hot topics and current events, talk radio for normal Americans with me, Pugs Moran, The Rant, right here on Radio Misfits, radiomisfits.com. Stay tuned tomorrow. We'll give you another update after Cassie's final day on the stand. And, all right, I guess that's about it. Thanks, folks. This has been Diddy or Didn't He with me, Pugs Moran, here on RadioMisfits.com.